Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today, and in just a few short days we're gonna finally learn what PlayStation has been hiding from all of us. Rumors are going crazy, but finally the speculation will come to an end. Now, I dedicated an entire podcast episode just 2 weeks ago to PlayStation 5 reveal event predictions. However, I've had some updated predictions that I want to throw into this video. Also, the hype has been reignited for people, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about the PS5 once more. And also, I understand not everyone has time for a 2-hour plus podcast every single week. So this video is for you guys as well. Anyway, let's get into it. But first, a word from everyone's favorite Mr. Maddie sponsor. I don't know what's wrong with me. Everywhere I look, all I see is Manscaped. I don't know if my hat's on too tight or something, but something's wrong. Oh, my anime figures. You guys bring me so much comfort. What would I do without you? Like you, Karapika. You're my What the hell is going on? KOTOR, I knew you'd never let me down. Who's my favorite game? Come here. Okay, I don't know what's happening, but there's only one solution that I read on the internet, and it's if you go to manscape.com and you type in the code Maddie, you get 20% off your first order as well as free shipping. So take full advantage of that. Dispel me from Manscaped being everywhere. I need your help, guys. So go there, check out their amazing ball trimming products, and save your boy. Alright, so what is Maddie expecting from this PlayStation 5 reveal, you may be asking, and my expectations are up here because we have been very patient. So Sony better poof, kick the door wide open and hit us with some really good announcements. Now, one that I feel is going to definitely happen is Resident Evil 8. So there was a bit of a leak over on a German retailer showing Resident Evil 8 Village. Now this box art here is apparently a placeholder, but the website described it as the darkest and cruelest addition to the franchise. With all of the remakes that have been coming out recently, and since it's actually been since 2017 since the fantastic Resident Evil 7 dropped, I thought to myself, you know what? Now is a perfect time to announce a brand new Resident Evil game. What's interesting is the box art is for the PS4. This is a PS5 event, and I imagine they want to focus on the next generation, as Sony's gone back and said multiple times they want to make sure it's a generational leap, not cross-gen. But PlayStation and Resident Evil have had a pretty strong relationship over its entire history, but more recently was really Resident Evil 7 having its VR exclusive to PSVR. So I imagine this relationship will continue as Resident Evil 8 is unveiled during Sony's big show. Now, I know I'm in this small group of weird kids, okay, but I love Resident Evil 5. It's my favorite in the series. Oh God, did I say that? Yep, I said it. And guess what? I stand by it. Great game. And the thought of Village makes me think of that game, but imagine if Resident Evil 5 was scary and not just an awesome co-op game. So that depiction of the setting alone just gets me excited. But if it's another entry in first person, kind of like Resident Evil 7, I don't know how I'll feel about that, because the DNA of 7 was strange, because it felt very much like a Resident Evil game, but at the same time, some of the gameplay components and the way the story was delivered, like the ending, I won't spoil it, but the way something happens in the ending where you're like, that felt kind of shoehorned in, all felt like it just slapped Resident Evil on the title just to help it sell copies. It was supposed to be something entirely different. That's the notion I got from it over time as I continued to think about the game. I still like it a lot, but I would like to see Resident Evil 8 be more of a traditional third-person game with those tense survival horror elements that they've relearned by revisiting 2 and 3 with the remakes, obviously 2 being the pinnacle of the remakes. Now this one is less of a prediction and more of a leak that happened that we will likely see be confirmed at the PlayStation 5 event, and that's I don't like this term because the game feels way too recent in the scheme of things, even though it was 2014, but a Bloodborne Remaster. So a rumor came out through PC Gaming Inquisition that Bloodborne is getting a remaster. It's coming to PS5, it's coming to PC as well. It'll be in 4K, 60 FPS. And this is a cooperative development by QLOC, Q-L-O-C, not sure which way you say it, as well as Blue Point Games, who worked on the likes of the Shadow of Colossus Remake. Now, the reason I'm a little iffy on this information is because in the video claiming that the port was happening for the PC, they were very vague on sources because of a non-disclosure agreement, which means you're bound by contract not to talk about anything. And I imagine through the source they received that information from, if they gave more specific details, it would have directly exposed that person who was their source, and in turn, that person would have lost their job. Now, as someone whose favorite Soulsborne game is Bloodborne, I'm over the moon on this, okay? I played and beat Bloodborne 3 times within like a couple weeks of it coming out. I adore this game. I love the mixture of aggression to get your health back while not shield hugging constantly like we saw become a thing in the Souls games with really 1 and 2 more so. Plus the aesthetic, the universe is just masterful. There is really nothing quite like Bloodborne, and while I'd much rather have a sequel to Bloodborne, I'm happy to see it come back. I do feel, personally to me, even as someone who loves that game, it is a bit too soon.
Also, I just want to make sure people understand when I say it's too soon, I'm more so referring to the idea of a Bloodborne remaster. A PC port, a PS5 port, those all make sense, but the term remaster, I'm not a fan of attaching that and then selling it again for $60 because it's running in a better FPS.
Now this will connect to an actual prediction of mine, which is that Demon's Souls Remake is coming. Now this isn't some type of hot take off the wall. It has been a rumor for a really long time that Demon's Souls is coming to the PS5 in the form of a remake from Bluepoint Games. This matches up with some of the remaster news we're getting now with Bloodborne, so I could totally see them having a big old FromSoft showcase here on the PlayStation front, and this would fit well because I believe that Elden Ring will more than likely be tied to Microsoft's platform with exclusivity of marketing and maybe DLC of some kind over on that platform. Now, while I love the Soulsborne games, I've played and beat every single one except 3 actually, Demon's Souls, for some reason, and maybe if I went back now I'd be better at it, but I remember when I went back like 4 years ago, I'm just bad at this game. I don't know what it is, man. Like, I think it might be a mentality, it might just also be the fact that it's older, maybe it's not as refined, but I'm not very good at Demon's Souls. I have not beat this game, and I would like another shot. So selfishly, I'm gonna say, make the remake happen so I can go ahead and take on all the bosses once more and really get things right. Put history back on the right course. But it wouldn't be a Matty video without a hot take, so I'm going to go ahead and predict that Insomniac is gonna come out and announce a Resistance Trilogy remaster. Now, when you look at their Twitter account, they've been posting some photos of Resistance. Someone did notice that the resolution of the photos that they were posting were much higher than the PlayStation 3's 720p, which Insomniac did shoot down, saying, no, we took all our screenshots at high resolution back then for print magazines, which I believe, but when someone asked afterwards if they were just shooting down the idea of a remaster, Insomniac left them on red, so we still do not know yet, but that could be them just shooting it down. When you look at their Twitter account, they're posting stuff about Spider-Man, Sunset Overdrive, even Fuse, like of all games, Fuse. So they post pictures of all their games all the time, but I feel like the Resistance trilogy needs to be brought to the PlayStation 5, at least through a port. The reason I say that is Sony is hurting on the first-person shooter front. Think of their entire set of first-party studios, and think of how many first-person shooters exist. Yes, they have a great little niche carved out of these third-person, semi-open world games, sometimes directly open world games that have fantastic stories and interesting gameplay systems, but what's happening is that they start to feel one and the same. Even if like you look at God of War, which is masterful, and you look at Spider-Man, which is also masterful, there's still a bit of similarity there. Almost a blueprint being laid out. I think if they start moving into the first-person realm a little bit more, it'll force them to change how they design their games a little bit. You can't rely on, for example, every game having the tall thing that you climb up and it puts all the stuff on the map for you to chase down all the waypoints. That type of formulaic design, which we've seen in the likes of Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't think you can really do that too often unless it's Far Cry in a first-person game. Plus, it would change how combat feels, whether it's shooting or melee. So I would like to see them bring the Resistance trilogy back. For people who haven't played them, they're excellent games. So much fun. Highly recommend them if you have a PlayStation 3 available. They're very cheap as well, so do look into them. But I thoroughly enjoyed Resistance 3 out of all three of them. I mean, my goodness, was that a wonderful game. Tons of different weaponry, really cool locations, post-apocalyptic. I know that's up a lot of your guys' alley, so go ahead and give it a look. But anyway, I do feel like they're going to announce this alongside a Ratchet & Clank sequel. So Ratchet & Clank in 2016 did extremely well, as I'm sure a lot of us are aware. It was a $40 title, and it really just blew it out of the water. It was a fantastic game. Speaking of beating Bloodborne 3 times, I also beat this game 3 times. It's something with these PlayStation exclusives, I guess, and beating them 3 times. But anyway, Colin Moriarty, and yes, I do work for him over on Colin's Last Stand for some freelance videos, but he has said on his public show, nothing directly to me, so don't get it twisted, but he has said on his public show, Sacred Symbols, that a new Ratchet & Clank game is coming, and he does expect it to come at launch. He said in a more recent episode, however, that it seems it's still on track. So in between 2018 Spider-Man and the next Spider-Man game, we're gonna get a Ratchet & Clank game, which I think is a really smart idea that would serve perfectly as that ideal E for everyone game. However, you got people like me who are in their mid-20s now and they're like, ooh, Ratchet & Clank! Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, those are just some predictions for the PlayStation 5 reveal event. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Sony has in store for us. I will be live streaming the event. I'll make sure to post a video when I am live so you guys can go ahead and watch along with me. I know a lot of other creators are going to probably be doing the same thing, but don't worry, we'll be live nice and early so that we can go in, chat, make some predictions, build up some hype, and then just watch the show together and we'll react afterwards and see, what PlayStation actually does. Maybe I'm wrong throughout this entire video. We'll see. It'll be fun to look back on. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's your turn now. Fire away in the comments down below. What do you hope to see? What do you expect to see from PlayStation? Comment down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all of the patrons who continue to just smash it with the insane amount of support. We are building up a gigantic community over there. Thank you for believing in what I do, and I'll talk with all of you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.